Mevey's Marvelous Meals. I am so excited to see you back this week. What we'll be making today is an apple, strawberry, cranberry crisp. Now, crisp is great. It's like a pie, but easier. So let's get into it. Before we can start cooking, let's go over our ground rules. If you've got long hair, go ahead and tie it up. Nobody wants hair in their food. If you've got an apron, go ahead and put it on, because why not? And most important, go ahead and wash your hands thoroughly, because nobody wants bacteria in their food, and that would be gross. So let's go. The next step before we can start cooking is making sure we have all of our ingredients. How did we do that, you may ask? Well, that's a great question. With your recipe card, you should also have had another piece of paper with words and numbers on it. So for your first questions, you should have numbers on one side and words on the other, and ingredients like this or this will be numbered. All you have to do is associate the number to what you think it is until you've gone through the entire list. Then we're going to move on to our fresh ingredients, which is the next question. You'll see numbers and lines next to them. Look on your table or in your box and identify all of the fresh ingredients you can see on one of those lines till you've filled all of them. If you're having a hard time, do not hesitate to go check your recipe card to make sure that you've got everything. Okay, now let's get cooking. The first step of our recipe is to preheat our oven to 350 Fahrenheit and to grease a 9 by 13 inch pan with either oil or butter. I will be using butter. Once that's done, set your pan aside for later. Now for the next step, we will need our apples, a cutting board, a knife, an apple peeler, and a medium bowl. What we will be doing is peeling and cutting our apples. So first, start peeling your apples. Now that all of our apples are peeled, we can go ahead and cut them into small cubes. Always excluding the core, of course. Pieces that look a little something like this. The next step is to make our crumble filling. So for this, you will need a measuring cup or measuring cups, a way to measure out teaspoons, your apples, your cinnamon, your cranberries, your strawberries, your white sugar, and your flour. So first, we're going to add half a cup of cranberries to our apples. Then, we're going to add half a cup of strawberries to our apples. Next, we're going to be adding in 1 cup of white sugar. Make sure to leave extra sugar for our next steps, and that it's really 1 cup. Next, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of flour to our mixture. Last but not least, we're going to be adding 1 teaspoon of cinnamon to our mixture. Once again, make sure to not add all of your cinnamon because we will need the rest for the rest of our recipe and to only add 1 teaspoon. Finally, we can mix everything together until it's all well combined, or until all of your fruit are coated in sugar and flour. Next, we will be adding our fruit mixture to our greased up pan. Spread it out flat along the bottom. It should look a little something like this. Then put it aside. For the next step, we will be making our crisp topping. You will need a mixing bowl, a measuring cup, your oats, flour, and brown sugar. So first, we're going to measure out 1 3/4 cups of oats. Next, we will be adding in 1½ cups of all-purpose flour. Next, we'll be adding in 1 cup of brown sugar. Now, mix everything together until they're completely combined. So now, we're going to be adding our butter into our dry oat mixture. First, remove the wrapper. Now cut your butter up into cubes. Add your cubes of butter into the oat mixture and mix until it becomes crumbly. I recommend using your hands. Now that our topping mixture is completely done, we can go ahead and sprinkle it on top of our fruit in our pan. Once your crisp is evenly topped with your oat mixture, it should look a little something like this. Now, our last step before we can add our crisp to the oven is to mix together our last 2 tablespoons of white sugar our last half of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Mix them together. Now we're going to sprinkle this on top of our crisp to give it that nice golden brown color and a little bit of extra flavor. Now we're going to put our crisp in the oven for 45 minutes or until the top is golden brown and crispy. While our crisp is cooking in the oven, it's the perfect time to clean up. So this includes wiping down your counters, doing your dishes, and putting everything away. But for me, it also includes bringing my compost out to the chickens. So let's go do that. So now that our crumble is done baking and we're done cleaning up, all you've got to do is let it sit for a couple minutes before serving it and enjoy. I personally recommend eating it with vanilla ice cream, but that's completely up to you. And with this, we've come to the end of the 3rd episode of Mevey's Marvelous Meals. I hope that you had fun, made good food, and to see you next week. Bye-bye!